as of today, this moment that you are watching this video, I have officially worn every item of clothing in my wardrobe at least once over the last 6 months. So now let's take a look back at that process and discuss some of the observations and discoveries I made along the way. And if you're new here, hi, my name is Melody. I make videos about customizing your wardrobe, creating costumes, and generally just being a crafty woman. You can also find me getting up to those same nefarious activities over on Instagram. Now you might be reasonably asking, Melody, why are you putting painter's tape on all of your clothing? And really what it comes down to is that I just love to make things more complicated for myself in the pursuit of knowledge. Oh yeah, and the tape indicates what items I haven't worn yet. Somehow I left out that crucial detail. That's right, folks. I'm doing some other kind of clothing-based challenge in order to see what really does and does not belong in my wardrobe. Because even though I have a reasonable amount of clothing, I get reasonable utilization out of all of my clothing, somehow I can't shake the feeling that it could still be optimized. So the objective was to wear all of my clothing at least once, with the two goals of 1, identifying anything that just doesn't belong in my wardrobe, and 2, just trying to get a little bit more creative with my outfits, particularly by challenging myself to wear those items that I don't usually reach for. I did also lay out a few guidelines for myself just to clarify exactly how I would accomplish this in a reasonable amount of time, rather than just vaguely going about trying to wear everything. The first guideline being that I wanted to wear everything within 6 months. Looking at the amount of clothing that I have, this seemed reasonable, and this would also be a short enough time frame to keep me motivated. I have to set deadlines for myself, otherwise I will just procrastinate. This time frame also covered January through June, meaning that I would get a good amount of time with both cold weather and hot weather, kind of covering the full spectrum of the weather that we typically get in my area. The second guideline was that I did not have to get dressed up every single day, nor did I have to really style every item to wear it. I could just wear it casually around the house. I didn't have to style it in a thoughtful, put together outfit. So as much as possible, I wanted to make sure that I was getting dressed every day, but I didn't want to force myself to get dressed in a way that doesn't make sense for my day-to-day life, for what I actually had to do that day, for whatever the weather was. I just wanted this challenge to actually work with my life and not against it. And third, anything added to my wardrobe within these 6 months did also have to be worn. That also counted toward the items that I had to wear during this challenge. And this definitely helped discourage me from shopping, because other than adding a small handful of items that I either made myself or was deliberately seeking out, I really didn't want to make the challenge more difficult for myself by bringing in an influx of clothing. In addition to guidelines, I also had a few exceptions, again, just to clarify exactly what I was focusing on. So there are some things that I just did not bother tracking because I didn't feel like it was pertinent to this challenge. The first of those being undergarments. Like, what would be the point? Secondly, I did not include costumes and formal wear in this challenge, anything that's in my costume closet in this room. So these are specifically separate from my daily wear closet for a reason, because they really only get worn for special events, for holidays. I just know I'm not drawing from this for my everyday life. Third, I did not worry too much about shoes and accessories. Now I did put tape on all of my shoes just to see which ones I actually wore, and also as an incentive to myself to try to wear as many of them as possible, just to have the fun of pulling off the tape as I use them. But I just already know I have a handful of high heels, like lower block heels, that I'm probably not going to wear, but every once in a blue moon an occasion comes up that they're perfect for. Like, they have a purpose, so I wasn't worried about shoes and accessories this time around. Essentially, my focus for this challenge was anything hanging or folded in the closet, as well as anything in my dresser, the stuff that I'm likely to wear on a day-to-day basis. And really what this boils down to is doing what I like to call the wear test. I'm sure other people have called it different things. To really get a sense of how I feel about an item of clothing, I have to wear it more than just for a picture, more than just for a try on. I have to either wear it out into the world, out of the house, or if I'm not going anywhere, I at least need to wear it throughout the course of my day so that I can get a sense of how I actually feel in it. Do I feel awkward and separate from it, or does it feel like a natural extension of myself? Sometimes an item can fit perfectly, I might really like it, it might even look amazing on me, but then the experience of actually wearing it, sometimes you just feel a deep, resonant no emanating from deep within your soul, and then that thing needs to go. So enough of the preliminaries, let's get into the actual observations and findings and takeaways that I have from this challenge. The first and most obvious one being, I have plenty of clothes, but we already knew that. Like, I definitely was not going into this wondering if I had enough clothes or not. I think that was obvious to me from the jump, but this was definitely just confirmation of that 10 times over. While there are a handful of specific items that I would like to either track down or make myself, as well as some jeans and leggings that I really need to replace. Other than that, like really specific things that I'm aware of, I do not need any more clothes. As far as having something to wear on a regular daily basis for my typical daily needs, I have enough clothing. Anything that I want to add is just that, a want. I might not always have exactly what I want to wear for any given occasion, but for the most part, I can usually find something that is okay and is suitable enough for the occasion. Okay, so we're almost at the end of January. I think it's time for a little check-in. It's been frickin' cold here. It's been really cold. So most of the stuff that's hanging up just isn't warm enough. I have already worn all of my sweatpants and leggings a couple times over. I've worn quite a few long sleeve shirts, and I am using this cold weather as an opportunity to focus on wearing all of my sweaters. And then once I have worn something, if it's hanging up, I'm not worrying about it so much with my drawers, but for anything that's hanging up, once I have worn it and I'm hanging it back up in the closet, I've been putting it towards the back. And that doesn't mean that I can't wear that item again. It's not like I wear it once and then I'm done for the whole challenge, because that would be mind-numbingly infuriating and kind of impossible. But that way, I want to see if that helps me prioritize the things that are further up, and it kind of gives me a good picture of what I wear the most, because those things are going to be at the furthest back of the closet. So yeah, I feel like I haven't really made a dent in it because of how cold it's been. So that's where I'm at, just over 3 weeks in. I guess I'm making good progress. It's hard to tell. So hopefully when the weather starts to turn a little bit, I can do a little bit more layering and be wearing 2 or 3 items every day that I haven't worn yet. So I don't know, I guess I'll check in later. I also didn't always have to wear an item to realize that it didn't belong in my wardrobe. There were a handful of items that I tried over and over and over again to style on multiple different days for multiple different occasions or multiple different weathers? types of weather, and it just never quite felt right. And at that point I was like, okay, this doesn't need to be here. But sometimes it didn't even take that. Sometimes I would just see the item sitting in my closet, hanging in my closet, knowing that the day was approaching that I would have to make myself wear it, have to make myself style it, and I just didn't want to. I just kind of had this quiet internal dread about it that would gradually get louder and louder. So if you're feeling that way about an item that you're trying to make yourself wear, it probably doesn't belong either. So those are the occasions when I didn't wear something but knew that it had to go. Okay, another month has gone by, so let's do a quick update. It is the first week of March, so throughout February, again, it has still been really, really cold. So mostly what I'm finding is that I'm wearing my sweaters and trying to really work on outfits that have the heavier layers or lots of layering. I've decided I'm not going to donate things that I don't want as I find them. What I'm going to do instead is set them aside for another clothing swap that I would like to have in the summer. And that way throughout this process as well, I'm not getting rid of stuff impulsively, because I definitely have done that before and then within a few months been like, oh crap, I actually still want that thing. But there's a couple things that I haven't worn, and it's the fact that I haven't worn them that makes me think I don't need them, because I've tried to style them or thought about wearing them and they just never work out. Well, the first one is this sweater vest that I'm wearing right now. I am gonna wear it today, but I gotta say I don't love this outfit. Like, it's fine, it's clothes, it's whatever. I think the colors look really good on me, but I just don't feel drawn to this. It just feels like an outlier, so I'm gonna wear it today and then it's gonna go in the giveaway pile. And then the other problem I've identified is I have a couple of items that they're not explicitly holiday clothing items, but that is how I wear them typically. This red blouse feels very Christmassy or Valentine's Day. I feel like this is more of a Halloween top, and this is another one that feels very Halloween-y as well. Yeah, so those are kind of like borderline holiday things that I tend to only wear as part of like a themed outfit. I think what I'm gonna have to do this month is really challenge myself to get dressed more when I'm at home. I can wear this at home if I'm just sitting on my computer editing or sewing, you know, stuff that's not like heavy manual labor. I think I can wear these at home. So anyway, that's where I'm at. I have worn all but one of my sweaters, and then I have a few cardigans I have not worn. I do think I'm on good track though to finish this within 6 months, because I've worn like 90% of the stuff that's in my dresser. I guess I'll catch you guys in another month or so for my next update. And then there were some items of clothing that surprised me. There were some items that I was on the fence about, thinking that I wouldn't like them when I styled them and that I would end up getting rid of them. But then once I actually made myself wear them, it kind of helped me get reacquainted with it and realized that it did have a place in my wardrobe. I was pleasantly surprised how comfortable they felt, how at ease I felt in them. I mostly went into this challenge thinking that I was going to focus on finding stuff to get rid of, but there were a few times that I found items to keep that I otherwise might not have. Okay, y'all, it's the last week of March. April is a few days away. Normally by this point, I would have brought out more of my spring clothing, but it's been a really busy year so far, so I'm gonna do that today. I'm gonna start bringing out some of my springtime things, but I'm gonna leave out anything slightly wintry that I haven't worn yet, because again, I wanna wear that while I still have the opportunity. We're still gonna have some cold days throughout April and probably into May. And then while I'm doing that, I'll probably put aside anything that I am pretty sure that I just don't want anymore. I think there's a few things in the winter items that I don't need them. I don't need them. I'm not gonna wear them. Okay, that's enough babbling. Let's go. Sometimes in the effort of making sure I wore everything, I wore some weird outfits. Like nothing super crazy, nothing super outlandish, nothing so bad that I couldn't leave the house in. I mean, that was really the standard I was working with, was can I at least leave the house in this? But sometimes if I wanted to style pieces that I hadn't yet, depending on the weather or where I was going, or if I was trying to combine multiple items that I hadn't worn yet, you know, trying to wear multiple at once, the outcome was a little bit different than what I would typically go for, just a bit out of my comfort zone. So I guess this counts as the getting more creative part of this challenge. I don't know, I guess that's neither good nor bad, but I feel like there were some duds in there for sure. We're officially at that point in the year when I feel like I have too many clothes because they're all out at once, because the weather could be anything. It's, hi, welcome to Maryland. Yeah, this feels extremely overwhelming. I felt like I was making good progress until I brought everything out. I'll probably do another round of putting cold weather stuff away towards the end of April. And then the wintry-ish items that I haven't worn yet that I need to wear as soon as possible, I put them at the front here, and I did decide to nix the thing I was doing with putting already worn items at the back, because I then forget that they're there. And even though I don't like the flipping the hangers in reverse thing, I've decided to put the things that I've already worn on reversed hangers. I don't know, I'm gonna give it a try, see if that helps. Because if the hanger's in reverse, that's kind of annoying to pull out of the closet, so it kind of makes me think, better not. I've already worn that, so might as well just leave it there, but it's still accessible if I need it. Let's see, those are a couple things I'm getting rid of. This is gonna get altered. This needs to go in the costumes. And then I forgot that in my box of out of season stuff, I have my Halloween clothes. And I know for a fact that I will wear my Halloween stuff. These are not going anywhere. I love wearing these throughout the month of October, but to do this challenge properly, to successfully say that I have worn all the clothes that are in this closet, I have to include them. So I am gonna bring out my 3 Halloween items, and these I will be just wearing around the house. I might get some weird looks from my husband. He'll probably be like, why are you wearing jack-o'-lanterns in May? And you know, just let me live my life, bro. Actually, he probably won't care. Yeah, it's feeling a little overwhelming right now looking at all of that, but I still feel confident that I can do this. And we are in prime layering season for me, so a lot of things will end up getting worn that haven't been yet. I've definitely put together some outfits that I haven't loved, that I've felt a little bit goofy in, but I'm kind of starting to care a little bit less if I'm like, I don't love this outfit today, whatever. But like, I'm wearing clothes, you know, I'm societally acceptable in that regard, and I don't feel hideous, so like, that's fine. Even if I don't love the outfit, can I still leave the house in it and be okay? Most of the time, yes. There's been a couple times where I've fussed with something and it just never felt quite right. So like today, the sweater vest and the black pleated short skirt. I don't love this outfit, but I feel fine in it. Like I'll be fine. I'll get through my day. So that's kind of been interesting to see a mindset shift in myself. And maybe that's just getting older too, where it's like, I don't know these people from Adam. Like, I don't know half of these people out in this world. Like, I don't care what they think about my outfit. They don't know me. I think the one major downside to this challenge was that sometimes I had to forego wearing an outfit or an item that I really wanted to wear in favor of prioritizing the things I had not yet worn. Specifically, I'm thinking of some favorite pieces I have in my wardrobe that I typically might wear several times a month or at least several times a season, but I've only worn them once or twice within the past 6 months because, like I said, I had to prioritize those things I hadn't worn yet in order to stay on schedule. Or sometimes I would think of an outfit that I would like to try, but then I would realize, oh, I've already worn those 2 items, not in that exact combination, but I've already worn those 2 items, so I shouldn't focus on that. And this was especially the case if I was running out of time to wear something that was specific to the season or the weather we were having. My favorite items often had to take a back seat when normally I would rewear them without a second thought. So that was kind of frustrating, and I'm looking forward to getting back to just wearing my favorites whenever I want. I realized also that I have not bought any clothing still this year, and it's the end of March. I've made multiple items of clothing. I swapped a few items of clothing in January, but I haven't bought anything. Like, I've window shopped. I've been to the thrift store for non-clothing things, so I don't know, I just haven't been shopping. And I don't know if that's because I've been focusing on wearing the clothes I already have, or just because I've been so busy and so preoccupied with other things. That's probably a big part of it. I'm focused on what I'm doing, living my life, making things. My time has just been so taken up by other things that like I don't care that much about shopping right now. Shopping really took a back seat during this challenge. I was more focused on finding ways to style the stuff that I already had, and adding to that number was not really appealing because it was going to make the challenge more difficult, other than adding a handful of items, mostly that I made myself or that I had been thinking a really long time about. Like specifically a pair of shorts that I just got off Poshmark. That was something that I knew I could add and reasonably wear within the few weeks that I had left of the challenge. I hope everything's on and recording. We are 1 week into May. I still think I'm on track. It is just getting harder to wear those more seasonal items. This week, going into next week, my goal is to finish wearing any of my long sleeve items. I think I can definitely get that done in the next week because once we start getting towards the end of May, it's just more likely to be hot on a consistent basis. I am definitely running into some challenges as far as wearing the items that I have left to wear, conflicting with the realities of my day. Like, I'm not gonna wear this ruffly skirt or even this mini faux suede skirt if I'm just gonna be home cleaning or sewing. Like, I guess I could wear them to sew, but depending on what I'm sewing, this does not allow for a lot of movement. It might be beneficial for me to lay out a calendar of how many days I have left, how many items I have left, and see if I can strategically plan some of those items for specific days where either I know I have an event that it would work for, or if I know that I'll be home and there's flexibility in what I can wear and get away with. It's getting closer to crunch time where some of those cooler weather items are getting trickier to fit in. I do still have a few like sweaters and things out that I could put away, things that I've already worn, but I'm not gonna do that right now. I need to go have a snack before work. All right, see ya. After doing this whole challenge, I don't think I really want to dress up for work anymore, or at least not very often. My job is very casual, so I really can get away with wearing almost anything I want as long as it's appropriate, but sometimes I don't want the attention that comes with wearing a more styled, intentional outfit. In order to stay on schedule for this challenge though, I did dress up for work a bit more than I normally might, but I don't think I'll continue doing this going forward. I think sticking with variations on t-shirt and jeans or just very casual outfits in general is going to be my best bet. It is kind of frustrating sometimes that the stuff that I like to wear and want to wear and find interesting is not always compatible with my desire to go about my life unnoticed, unperceived. So how I dress for my work outside of the home might be an area of my life to start playing around with different accessories rather than focusing on putting together a full look. So it is June 1st. I think this will be my last update. We have been having really mild weather, which makes me want to wear like longer sleeves and stuff because that's more comfortable for me. So really a lot of what I'm left with is those items that are better for very hot weather. Now these two items I have had at the front of the closet to remind myself to wear them. I have tried to style both of these multiple times and almost walked out the door in them, and it's just never felt right. This skirt, as much as I think it is so cool and I love it, it does feel a bit costumey, a bit more appropriate for special events. So I do think this needs to go in the costume closet. And same thing with this little knit top. This is not a great color for me, and I just don't find myself really wanting to wear it other than as kind of a costume piece. I think it's really fun around Halloween. So this, I think I'm also going to move to the costume closet, thereby exempting myself from actually wearing it because I know there's going to be an occasion for it. It's just not in my everyday life. 24, 25. Okay, great. That's great because that means 25 items and 29 days left. If I make a real effort to wear at least one of these items every day, then I should be good to finish this before the end of the month. Really what it's coming down to is just, particularly with the stuff in the closet, sometimes it just feels a little overdressed for what I actually need to do. So I am finding myself just like wearing my fun stuff at home around the house, which is fine. I think that still gives me a sense of how I feel in that item. Like I wore my kind of fancier looking red tank top the other day, and yeah, it felt overdressed for just being at home, but it still reconfirmed to me that yes, I like this item, I like how I look and how I feel in it, and it still fits. So therefore, I'm justified in keeping it. Sometimes that's just what it's gonna have to be. So we're in the home stretch. We can do this. I can do this. So at the end of these 6 months, I do have to say I'm really glad I did this. I found this much more valuable to me personally than some of the other outfit challenges I've tried in the past, like especially much more beneficial to me personally than the 75 hard style challenge, because that just didn't make sense for my life. I feel like the way that I set this up gave me so much more flexibility to match what I was wearing to my day-to-day life. As much as I tried to get dressed as often as made sense, I didn't feel like I had to. And like, that just makes way more sense. That just makes so much more sense. That being said, I do have a couple recommendations for how I might do this differently if I did it in the future, or just tweaks to do to this challenge if you want to try it yourself. The first one being to do this over a longer period of time. I think this could be a great thing to do over the course of a year. That's just going to give you more flexibility about how and when you wear your items, or do it half of the year at a time. Like if you're in the Northern Hemisphere, spend October through April just trying to wear all of your cold weather clothing, and then spend April through October focusing on your warmer weather clothing. Dividing it up by seasons or giving yourself a longer period of time with less clothing might be more doable for more people. And likewise, what I think I will do in the future is just focus on a handful of items per month or per season that I'm unsure of, maybe for a 3-month period, depending on what the weather is. Bring those items I'm unsure about up to the front of my closet, put the tape on them, and just make myself wear those over the next 3 months. That typically should give me enough occasions to work with to wear those things, if it's just a handful. Not to mention, I actually really liked the tape on everything. It was like a weird little dopamine hit every time I got to peel off a piece of tape and throw it away. It was like checking off the box on a to-do list. Put some tape on your clothes and you'll be Proud of yourself when you get to throw it away. But yeah, I am really glad I did this. I think it did give me some clarity in a few areas of my own wardrobe curation. So now for the next video, I can show you guys everything that I decided needs to go, as well as do a final sweep through my wardrobe and do some closet organization. There's a lot. There is surprisingly a lot more that needs to go than I thought there would be. So anyway, leave a bikini emoji down in the comments. It is the devil's butthole outside. Seriously, stay safe out in this heat, guys. It's wild out there. Thank you so much for watching and hanging out with me today. Make sure that you subscribe if you would like to hang out again. And I will see ya when I see ya. Goodbye. Man, I need some WD-40. So the there's a fly, a big old house fly in this room, and he's driving me insane.